All right, everyone. Good night to you. Good morning, good afternoon. Whenever you decide to tune in, I hope you're having a good one. Uh, I am your one and only host right now this week. Uh, yeah, just gonna wait until we get some people here. This intro is just gonna be all for naught. So we're gonna catch this at a later time. Let me let you know about something. We we might have to make some changes to this show in particular. I am not like going to be the one responsible for it. Oh, hey, we got someone here. But all right, now we got some people tuning in. Nice, 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 nice. Welcome, welcome. How's it going, everybody? Has everyone recovered from the from the Braves win? I don't think you really can recover that quickly. I think that like that shock still resides in you. So, yeah, I'm proud for you, man. Proud for all of you. At 26 years, you guys have definitely deserved a championship. But I got to move on to other talks. You know, maybe someday one of these streams we're gonna put a Braves hat on my head. I've already ordered it, so. All right. So we got Floyd Dinelli here talking about appreciating solo time. He said, "Damn, be late. Freddie cracks one." All right. So, yeah, no Dave on tonight. He's finally got work going on for him, and yeah, it's kind of just back to me for the time being. And yeah, some of my awkward silence is gonna sneak back into the show, I guess. But in order to get him back onto the show, we might need to make some changes, and that's what I was kind of like heading towards. So we were thinking that Saturday night, around the same time as tonight, as right now, would be another slotted show for you guys, which would be kind of mostly Dave on. I mean, I'd be there as well. I'm sure some of y'all won't even care about that, but regardless, we're gonna have another day for you guys, and we wanted your opinion on it. So, all right, JC Magic, how's it going? Checking up the deuces for the 4 times. Go Jackman Tuckett. He's happy for the Braves. I am too. So, like me as a fellow resident of California, I actually have not like really gotten into any particular baseball team. I'm one of those people that like really learned the sport first and then decide it and then like try to make a decision as to whether or not I should follow a certain team. I never really did that with baseball. I did that with football, obviously, like where I learned the sport first before I learned about any particular team. And then from there, I kind of had to decide whether or not this was a type of game or a type of sport that I would rather watch or rather play. For me, baseball and to a lesser extent, basketball, they're a type of sport where it's like I'd rather play it than watch it. I don't know. That's just me. Like, well, with football, it's completely different. Like, I'll play it and I'll watch it, like as equally. All right, let's talk World Series. Let's just talk. What team do I like? Well, like I said, like I'm not tied to any baseball team, but knowing the platform that I'm on right now, it would be wise for me to to help y'all out in supporting the Braves. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do for now. All right. So you got a fan in me. Like I said, so much so I'm gonna get a new hat, and I hope to match one of these types of hats with a Falcons hat at some point. So it'll be really exciting news. But I mean, one thing that I will say is that for every Atlanta team, this can be true still for the Falcons. All right, every Atlanta team, they've struggled at first before they went on a tear. All right, think back to the Hawks. All right, they kind of struggled, and then we went on that tear with Trae Young. Atlanta United, a lot of people forget about them, but they struggled, and then they won the whole thing. All right, Braves, we just saw an example. All right, they struggled mightily. Like they had every single lot against them. Did not matter. All right, one of the worst things against them was this dreaded Atlanta curse. Right, did not matter to them. They were going on a tear, and then they won the whole series. Hey, I think Atlanta is pushing a whole entire sport breakthrough. I don't know about you guys. All right, Georgia. I mean, we can't even forget about them. All right, they haven't really had a they haven't really had a break. You know, they just going on a tear. All right, any team, any sport. What do you like? Well, in terms of a rank of importance for me, I mean it's football, and then like basically any sport's tied for second, but it's not even close. Um, that's just kind of like the sport that I grew up with. That was the sport that helped me get friends, you know, as a kid. And to this day, it's still working. So I guess I did something right. I mean, we'll see, right? I think like the biggest example would be the Falcons. Like that way, we can wipe this whole quote unquote curse off of our backs. Hopefully for good. All right, because some teams they've just had it rough for basically their existence. All right, like as soon as the team gets expectations, like everyone already knows like the downfall is near. You know, and the best example I can give is kind of the Cardinals. All right, like I was one of the few people that expected them to be on a tear. Not this bad, but um sorry, almost got interrupted. Uh but it's like you take a look at their win percentage as a franchise, it's terrible. All right. They haven't had a championship since 1947, and we all know that football does not work the same way as it did back then. All right. Floyd Donnelly, how's it going? We always play better against better teams. I hope that's true for this week. All right, and I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're better than us. All right, because I gotta prove it every single week. All right, glad I'm making sense to you, man. some people may disagree, but all right. You think we should pick up Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Cooks, or Deshaun Jackson off a free agency market if they don't ask for too much money? Well, that's a big. Well, thanks for the question, but that's a big task for them to not ask for too much money. I mean, let's see, like of these three, who would I rather have on the team? Ooh. I don't know. How's everyone else feeling about this question? All right. If it was up to these three receivers, I know that potentially OBJ is also on the market. But there's a big old question mark that's going on with that team right now. With Kevin Stefanski trying to say, like, oh man, he's technically not even on the roster. Well, what the heck does that mean? But all right. So Floyd saying Alshon, Clay saying Cooks. Already have a difference of opinion. All right. what if I just say Deshaun Jackson then? Nobody can get it right. All right. Well, I guess it still kind of depends on what type of receiver that we want. All right, because Alshon and Cooks, they're kind of in the same mold. Brandon Cooks is a little bit more versatile. All right, Deshaun Jackson, at this point in his career, he's a bit of a one-trick pony, but that one trick, when it's done right, is very successful. All right, but when you put his best attribute with the quarterback like Matt Ryan, who really likes to have anticipation with his deep throws instead of just like, oh, hey, you're 50 yards down the field. I'm going to sling it over here for 70 because that's the type of quarterback that I am. I don't think that we would use him to the best of his ability. Now, with Brandon Cooks, like I said, you can use him a little bit more variety. I mean, the Texans, the only thing that's going right for them is Brandon Cooks. And even then, like he's put in different spots. Like he's an X receiver. He's a slot receiver. Like he can be used in different areas. So he's got more of a route tree to him. And then with Alshon, I don't know. Like, yeah, without the diva, heck, I'd take OBJ. You seen that clip that his father's put out there? I shouldn't say clip. It's like 11-minute highlight video or low light, I guess, depending on what you want to say. Well, I'm saying they're both good. Yeah, I agree. But at the same time, with Alshon, he's got a different skill set to him. And I don't know what his strength is right now. Right? There's a reason as to why he hasn't been picked up yet. Like at least the other ones have been playing this season. I haven't heard a single thing from Alshon in like a year and a half. That worries me. So he may be a little bit too injury prone. He may not. He may have the problem with the dropsies. But I mean, what are y'all thinking? He's Clay Melton. How's he doing? He's saying Cooks is more of a direct replacement for Ridley. I just think it'd be an easier transition into the offense. Yeah, but one thing that we've always had the question with is like, is Ridley the type of number one receiver that Arthur Smith wants? You know, and I'm not knocking on Ridley's talent. You know, I wish him the best in everything that's going on in his life. All right. The fact that so many people are just like upset about him, like, y'all need to stop because that's a man's life that you're tinkering with. All right. This is more serious than that. You know, so the last thing that he needs is for a bunch of people to like rip all over him and be like, well, if he can ask for a day off just for his mental illness, then I can. That's not the issue. All right. The issue is not that he wants to go to another team. The issue is not that he wants to just like give up and retire. The issue is not that he's just lazy and doesn't want to play anything. All right. That's not the issue. You don't know what the issue is. So stop assuming and stop creating false narratives. All right. It's my small rant for the night. I always seem to have one about the random topics. Hey, J Rock, how's you doing? Everybody send him some love. JC Magic, I would take Alshon. I think he'd be cheaper, bigger wide receiver, and a vet for the wide receiver room now that Seared is gone. Yeah, I mean, like the frame is one thing that you can say about him that you can't say about the others. But at the same time, why haven't I heard from him in a while? Like that's my only concern. Like, could he just step right in like day one and really compete for a top spot? You know? Hey. It is real, you know? And you'd be surprised about like what you can do to simply hide it. You know, a smile can mask a lot of emotions. A smile is the best mask since COVID. uh, but I mean, you can't take a small narrative or a small fact about someone and just build on that without really any more context about the person, right? It takes more and more knowledge to be gained in order to have a better and more accurate understanding of a person and what they're going through than just simply saying like, okay, well, he's struggling here. Well, then he must be struggling at everything. Or he's just doing this for other reasons. Like he's just doing this for attention. I was like, no, 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 no. All right. Like when you try to apply this to other things, it doesn't make any more sense. So that's one thing that I never really liked. I'd never really liked the fact that people can just like make all these lazy assumptions and then get away with it knowing that they're not going to get any, like, no one's going to hold them accountable for what they say until it gets like serious. And even then, like, people still want to like make jokes about it, like with the whole Henry Ruggs situation. I didn't think I'd have to talk about that this week, but here we are. So Floyd, he says, the heck with the space bar. He said, Resuser. Awesome, that is. Nick, how's it going, man? He says, I would love if we can draft a big body receiver that can make contested catches and isn't scared of contact. No offense to Ridley, but his play style is better as a wide receiver, too. I think that he's definitely been a little bit more of a compliment. Like, he's not. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on a lot of different variables, right? Because I can't really say, like, well, it's just because of how small he is. Well, no, that hasn't been true because Steve Smith has freaking teared the whole league since the 2000s, and he was 5'9". All right, so I can't say it's a matter of size or like a matter of like the frame of a player. So I can't say it's that, and I can't say it's like his whole mentality of just like being like a number two and just like settling for the best. Like, I made the statement a couple weeks ago. Like, there is no way you're going to Alabama as a number two receiver because they saw you in high school as a number two receiver and they thought to recruit you as a number two receiver. No, like, if you're in Nick Saban's locker room, you're expected to be the top of your position. And he does not want anything less. All right. He's got a reputation to live by, just like a guy like Bill Belichick has in New England. All right. He's got a reputation to live by. So you can't settle for anything less than what your maximum is, essentially. So I don't want anyone saying that he doesn't have what it takes in order to be a number one receiver. It's just, at the same time, we can see some things on film, right? That's all I'm going to leave it at. Like, we can see what he's given us on film. So George Costanza, how's it going, man? Mental health is real. I initially thought of negatively of Ridley, thinking he quit on his team and his brothers. I realized I was being the same toxic person that my Army leadership was back in IOF or OEF. Yeah, I mean, everyone's got a story to tell, man. You can't make assumptions off of something that's so little and that doesn't have a lot of context to give you off of. It's like you need more knowledge of a situation before you could really have an opinion about it. So, like, that's what was like really like unsettling for me, was the fact that we had so little information to go off of about like what he's dealing with. And that's good on the Falcons, by the way. I think that's the best case scenario. Like, they were going to have to tell us at some point that something wasn't right. That because we were going to notice, it's like, hey, how come Ridley's not on the field? Like, they had to answer that question. So when you're in the Falcon situation, how do you handle this thing? Like, do you guys think that they treated this in the right way? Do you think they gave off too much information? Did you guys think that they didn't give off enough? I want to know what you guys have to say, because there's a lot of people that just want to make quick assumptions. And those are the ones that, yeah, you shouldn't really take advice from them. Sharp, Darby, is it time? I think it's more time for Tajay Sharp, right? I was watching a lot of film this morning about that Panthers game. Whew. It was a struggle, but there were some plays where Tajay Sharp actually beat Stephon Gilmore on a couple of routes, and I was kind of surprised with that. With Darby, he's something that I always go back to. He's like he's such a question mark right now, But thanks to the preseason, we're at this point where we can start having like a lot of confidence in the guys that are in the back of the depth chart. And I couldn't really say that against any other year. Like how many people were clamoring for people of a lesser position last year to be on the field? That might have been more people, right? But at the same time, it's got a different vibe to it. It's got a different feeling. It's like you want to see like anyone succeed on the field for us, right? Like you got that expectation in your head. They're saying, I feel like Arthur Smith needs to throw it deep to Ridley more. His route running is top 5 in the league. Well, I think you're going to have to replace Ridley with someone else at this point. And I think Ridley, he's got his best chance of being replaced with Kyle Pitts at that position. And I was also thinking, like, because in case anyone's wondering, like, Davon's not going to be here for the show. All right, like, now that we got enough people, we were actually thinking about making another show for you guys on Saturday night around the same time. So if you guys are available for that, and if you guys like that idea, let me know so I can let Davon know, so that we can all both let Maggie know, and then we can set it up and then carry on from there. Because like he's back at work, and like my schedule over here being in the West Coast and his schedule over being here like as like a night worker in the East Coast, like it's very, very, very difficult to deal with everyone's situations. Yeah. Prove it's in the building. How you doing? Ron says, who y'all want in the draft? I haven't taken a look at any prospects. I want to wait until the season's actually over. And then from there, I can take a look at all the film that I have. So, yeah, I just feel like Arthur Smith needs to design more deep routes. So, Ridley, when he comes back, his route running is maybe the best in the league. Oh, yeah, like, there's a reason as to why he put up, like, the art of route running kind of video. Like, there's a lot of different looks that he can give at the top of the route and all that kind of stuff. Like, his comeback routes are just a thing of beauty to watch. Times it's hard, the whole world's going crazy. Whew. And you got average Joes like me over here. I'm just kidding. If you haven't really mental health issues, they law won't let them tell us. What? I don't know what the word law means in that sentence. Tajay did great, all things considered. Or was good. Yeah, that was one of the things I was really curious about. Like I saw him on the field a couple of times, but then like at the same time, guess who else I saw a lot of on the times? Felipe Franks. I saw like 10, 15 kind of snaps of Felipe Franks on the field. I was like, wait, what the heck is happening here? Like, I think we're a little bit too late in the season in order to be still experimenting with our personnel. Ray Melton says, Ridley has the skills to be number one. We've seen it at times when Julio was out. Hopefully he takes care of himself and gets healthy again for himself. Absolutely, especially because he's got a daughter. It's like, K-Styles, big shout out to you for Monday. If you guys haven't seen like Monday's show, I highly suggest that you go out at another time. All right. But please go back and watch that Monday show if you haven't. Because there were some really serious words that were said. It was kind of a somber moment but it's going to be one that you're proud of if you haven't listened to it yet. The King says, congratulations, Atlanta sports fans. You finally got a championship. Well, I mean, they won in 95, right? The Braves kind of won one already. But it's just, hey, now we got the new century mark. We want to make sure that that's noted. Good job from the Seattle fan. Nice to know that you're rooting, or at least respectful for us, I have a feeling all the linebacker and Grady gonna be free agents. Oh, don't say stuff like that. So the thing about like the restructured contracts is like with Grady and Debo especially, like they really restructured the contracts and they wanted to like try to back, or what was the right term? I think it was like push back um, a lot of the money to like the or back end. That's what I was thinking. Back end the contracts to like the last year of the deal. I don't know when that is for both of them. And then you also got to worry about Foye. You know, he's going to have to get paid soon, and I really hope that it's us that's going to pay him because he's been phenomenal. Kojak Nantucket with a $20 super chat, man. Holla to you. I am going to come back to this portion of the stream, screenshot it, and tell all my friends. You have my regards on this one. You're doing what you're doing. Love the context. Falcons handled the situation with Ridley great. I'm mad and both relief he is getting help and stop being selfish. And that's the key. And that's the key factor too, man. Like, don't be selfish and think that it's all about you. All right. It's really hard for some people. You know, they're really stubborn about their ways and how they were raised and whatever. You know, it's like it's tough in order to teach everyone the same lessons, especially because people have a hard time like reiterating or remembering, retaining knowledge. And for someone like me, it's speaking, especially when it's something like as big as this, you know. Oh man, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna say this. All right, just in case that anyone has any kind of like problems with donating on this like show, you know, like when I'm on here. So here's another rant coming. It's not really much of a rant, but I'm just gonna go off script. I don't have a script, but I'm gonna go off script again. I don't have like a PayPal or anything like set up, you know. So if you donate to this stream at any given time, it's going to go directly to like Maggie and Mike. I don't get this money, you know. Like I am a user on here on this channel, technically, but this money is not being directed to me. All right. So if you've ever been afraid that I was like mooching off of you guys, it's like, no, that is far from the case. I got my own job. I'm sort of taken care of over here. You know, that's not what I did this for. I didn't ask for the money because that's not the type of person I am. That's why I haven't really like made a channel either. It's a lot of commitments, but the whole thing is that it's going to go to the actual creators of the channel. All right. So if you still want to support them, like, hey, donate at the stream, however you feel like, you know. I've not been one to ask, you know, like I haven't been one to like ask for like subscribers and likes and stuff. Like that's not the kind of person that I am. I'm always the type of person that's like my actions would kind of like let you or like could convince you to do that anyways. You know, it's like I shouldn't have to say to like, hey, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff. It's like I shouldn't have to say that. Like what I do, like what you tuned into should be enough to convince you that, hey, like you're worth subscribing to, that you're worth like the like button, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's like that's why I haven't really been adamant about it. That's just me. You know, I'm not saying that I don't want to that I don't want this to grow. I certainly do. But at the same time, it's like I got like my own like internal conflicts that's going on in my head. I don't want to be someone that I'm not, is all I'm trying to say. So, anyways, Kojak, thank you. Wish to see more of you in the future. All right, back to the draft question. He said that we need Jordan Davis. I definitely agree. Floyd Anelli defense draft, that is. Or Thaddeus. Unless if there's a person that has a last name of Thaddeus. Apparently we've signed Marvin Hall, deep threat. Yeah, I did see that too. Like we signed him off from the practice squad. Who says Jordan Davis by all means necessary. Imagine Grady and Jordan Davis. Good luck stopping that. Oh, Yeah. So here's something cool about Grady Jarrett that I learned earlier today when watching film. If you want to know like my findings, check out our article on AtlantaFalconsNation.com. Apparently, everyone's forgotten that that website exists. But yeah, if you haven't noticed, I'm like the only person that's uploaded anything on the website in the past like 9 weeks. Yeah, that's a bit of a clap back to all the creators over here on the on our side of the on our side of the family. But I hold down what I hold down. Um, yeah, I actually didn't have a whole lot of time in order to like write about a bunch of stuff. So it's kind of a glorified gallery at this point. Like if you want to go to like their week 8 recap, like I put it up here. I had a lot of notes and doodles on the pictures and stuff to let you guys know like what the heck is going on a certain play. So if you guys are interested in that, like that is available on our website. Um, but like the first paragraph that you're going to see on there when you go to it, it's going to say like, hey, audio file is on the way as requested. All right, I'm going to try to change things up a bit, and that's kind of a question that I'm going to get to in a little bit. But yeah, one of the things that I wanted to do is maybe convert some of all the stuff that I had to write and type out and stuff. Maybe if I convert that to an audio file, that way you guys can download it. You guys can like, I don't know, put it back in your phone, whatever you use. You can like keep it in the background and just like see the recap, or you can just stay on it and just like look at the pictures and it kind of come up with your own like narrative. But yeah, that's going to be available. If you want me to do the audio file, let me know. All right, that way I can record my voice, my thoughts, and like what I've seen so far, and then that'll be that, and that can make my writing job a lot easier. Gunn says, "Why was Franks in there, bro? What the heck was that?" All right, so I think what we're trying to do with Felipe Franks is that we're trying to have him be a Taysom Hill type of player. But the problem with that is, I kind of sound like K-Styles now. But the problem with that is, we're not throwing to him. So we're not really making him a threat. So it's still baffling me as to why he's even like out there on the field if he's not attracting attention from the defense. If you're not even using him as a decoy, like you're not even throwing to him as like a double pass, you're not giving him the ball. So why should the defense treat him as if he's Taysom Hill? Like at least Taysom Hill can show you that he's got the speed, he's got like the quickness, he's got the ability in order to catch and throw. Like he's got multiple threads. I've also seen Felipe Franks playing special teams too, so I know that's what they're kind of doing for a fact. But yeah, like there was a play. It was a 2nd and 9 in the second quarter. I want to say they tried to do a post action or a play action post shot, right? So there's kind of like 2 deep routes on the field. They're coming in the I formation, which has one running back, one fullback, like directly behind the quarterback, and then they also had the tight end split out on the right. But here's the personnel package, right? So on the right, as like the Z receiver, they had Kyle Pitts. All right, I like that so far. As your running back, you had Cordell Patterson. Okay. Remember, this is a play action, so you're kind of like having Cordell Patterson be the decoy here. At fullback, you had Hayden Hurst. Okay, he's not really running a route. He's more of a check down, which you're not really trying to do. You're not really trying to throw a check down on a play action shot play. You had Lee Smith out to block as your tight end, like in the inline tight end position. And then on the X receiver, you had Felipe Franks. So basically, you had Kyle Pitts just running run route. The defense did not care about Felipe Franks, and they quadruple teamed Kyle Pitts. That's why it looks so bad, is because they didn't consider him a threat because they knew that they were not going to throw to him. And that's what baffles me, that he's on the field and that he's not having anything done to him. I'm going on all sorts of rants, aren't I? I said 6 and 7 snaps. Yeah, and none of them were meaningful. Employment law. Oh, okay. I got what you're saying now. Dang it. All right. Good show. Thank you. I don't want to like resort it to that though. Like if it's a good show, that's fine. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What can I do to make it a great show? All right. That's what I want to know. This is sold number 2. What, are we auction him off? Yeah, he is a solid second option. Hopefully Kyle Pitts can be that first option for us. But if Kyle Pitts is the only option on the field, which is kind of what I was alluding to earlier, that's a problem for him. He shouldn't be getting triple teamed and quadruple teamed. Like I know that he's going to be like what Max said, he's going to be a mega star. But at the same time, I want him to build his confidence up even more so. I want him to be on pace so that he can have some more records to his name and feel good about being a Falcon. Because we all know, like, hey, what are we going to do? We're going to have really good counting stats in the regular season. Franks was the only monitoring. You could tell they were trying to get Carolina on their heels or motioning. Well, even then, that didn't really work. Like, they weren't really on their heels when Cordell Patterson was in motion. You would think that he would be more of a threat, right? So I don't think they were trying to get him on their heels. I just think that they're trying to get him feeling comfortable on the field, and that he can get him some playing time as an athlete for them. But is he the type of athlete that you would want to have on the field for like a special teams play or to be a decoy on the offensive side of the ball? I don't know. And it's like I'm more leaning towards no than yes, because you haven't given me enough in order to say and have faith in my answer if it's a yes. So exactly. I mean, Darby's getting a lot of like special team stats, but not that anyone cares. Is that all white Falcons hat? Yeah, I saw that on the NFL Shop, and I was like, I gotta have it, and I gotta figure out how to keep it clean. All right, so I have a bucket of like OxyClean kind of. I wouldn't call it powder, but it's like suds or something. It's detergent, but it's like not like a liquid. I put a bucket in it because it had like a bunch of stains over here. It was more becoming like an all yellow hat because of how sweaty my head can get in the summer. So yeah, and then how oily your fingers can get on the brim. So it's also kind of starting to be a little bit more like that. But yeah, I took a bucket, had some warm water, poured the OxyClean in there, made sure it was a solvent, dipped the hat in there for about like 6 hours, and then pulled it back out, had to dry it off with a towel, kept that out there for like overnight, came back this morning, and it was super white. So hey, credits to OxyClean, not sponsored, but you never know. How can a hat kill a game? I don't know what the heck I just did there. Hey man, need an editor? Are you willing to work for free? Sure, like we can get you on board. But hey, like I'm not getting paid for anything. I'm just doing this out of the goodness of my heart. But I mean, if you're open to at least like experiment with us, that'd be a cool thing to have. Yeah, actually, like we can pump some more videos out with an editor. I can actually do some more ideas for videos with an editor. Hey, if you're willing to give us a chance, we're willing to give you a chance. And that's coming from me. when everyone on AFN, when they do the attendance, they always forget me and Davon. It says we need to resign Dante Fowler, Foye, and Isaiah Oliver. Yes, by any means necessary. Yeah, tell him, prove it. You're saying Fowler can go? Well, I don't want to cause a problem here that I can't solve. So if we're going to get rid of Fowler, what are we going to try to do? Are we going to try to draft another pass rusher for like the umpteenth time? It's a difficult task, man. And there's not a whole lot of pass rushers that might be hitting the market. I don't know. I got to take a look at like everyone's like contracts years, because there could be like some really big free agents. But well, I mean, you can wash the hands too, but at the same time, you're always going to have some sort of oils that's going to expose that a white hat's going to expose. Meet Washington. How's it going? Love the name. He said, congrats to our Braves on winning the World Series. Folks really going to think we live in the last days of the state of Georgia win 2 championships in the same year. Well, just kidding, man. College Boy 3, how's it going, man? 105th all-time meeting against the Saints. We're definitely going to... Oh, wait. Hold on. You spelled it wrong. Yeah, they don't have that first S there. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. But, against the Aints, we are definitely going to see some explosion. Matt's 25th career game. It's about to go down. I predict Pitts has 87 yards and a touchdown. If you're feeling that confident, start him in fantasy. 25th career game against the Aints. Again, you spelled it wrong because they don't have the S. Hey, man, I appreciate it. I can ask that 20 back from them. I don't think that's going to be that tall of a task, considering that you donated it to my stream and I have this as like snapshot of it. But yeah, man, I do really appreciate that, and that means a lot to me, especially because this is like my 9th week at doing this kind of stream, and my only experience of like having an audience this big was being an after-school teacher a couple years ago. And I had all different types of grades and all different types of behaviors in order to deal with. And at stepping into that type of job when you're like 4 months fresh out of high school, essentially at 17 years old, that's a tall task in order to deal with kids. And that's like one of my biggest weaknesses. But one of the things that I always appreciated was having that aha moment go off in a child's head, like being able to teach someone and having them like remember it and like really use it. Like that was something that I really loved to see, so I wanted to see more of that. So that's what inspired me to be a teacher like a year and a half before I got into like the job that I do now, which everyone's going to have this type of job at some point, man. But with this, I get to really like relive that, to kind of whatever that I can get. But we'll have some conversations, hopefully, maybe a little bit later after the stream if you're up for it. Floyd, who cares? College Boy says, I prefer Devontae Wyatt over Jordan Davis because of versatility. I'm gonna have to like keep track of these names, man, because all I know is that Georgia D line has been causing nightmares for all sorts of quarterbacks. Patrick, Prantic Day. Almost called you Patrick. Prantic Day, how's it going, man? AR found out an Arthur Smith, right? Found out another before the game that Ridley wasn't going to show up. He had to rework his game plan on the fly. So yeah, I mean, really, like kudos to him for at least putting us in a position to still like kind of be in the game, in the thick of it. And I know what you're thinking. It's like, well, it's the Panthers, and they didn't really have like an offense. That may be the case, but it's like it all comes down to situational football, Like with a rivalry game, like we've said, like throw the record out the window. That record does not care, all right? Because we were at one point destroying the Aints. What was it, like last year or 2 years ago when we were 1-7 and they were 7-1? The score was like 23-9. The record does not matter at all. It cares about the atmosphere of the game and what the team will go when they step into the field, So yeah, like you really can't judge the Panthers game like that. It's also go praise, yeah. Gary Morrill, how's it going, man? I will be shocked if the Falcons beat the Saints. Get your shock face ready. That's all I'm saying. Falcons are going to go DN first round, wide receiver, and D-tackle on the second round. Third could also be a running back. I was thinking about the running back position as well, but it's like the level of priority, and we also don't know like who the heck we're going to have to let go of in order to keep certain players here. So I've always like had to postpone like draft and free agency talk until like kind of when it actually happens, or a little bit before. That way we can we're gonna have more information to us available. Falcons are gonna beat the Aints. I did. Whew. Oh boy. We got to get production out of our own game. So while you say that, I was looking back at the Panthers game, like I said, like I have a bunch of film on it. Go check it out, AtlantaFalconsNation.com. I'm like the only person that's been doing anything to the website. Um, there were actually some really good moments where they were actually able to negate like the whole Panthers defensive line. All right, but one of the things that I took away from the Panthers game when we were running the ball is that once it worked, they tried to implement some other type of system. You know, what I mean by that is, let's say that you were watching a boxing fight, right? One of the boxers they have like a hook left, the other boxer blocks it, and like, ah, man, well, I guess I can't throw a punch on the left, right? No, 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 no. Like, you still might be able to attack them. You're just gonna have to do it in different ways, right? So one of the things that I saw the Falcons do was that they're really adamant about running the ball on first down, especially for the first half of the game, right? Like no matter what, right? They ran the ball on first down. 8 guys in the box on the Panthers, and everyone's expecting to run. I don't care. I'm gonna run the ball, you know. And it's like that's why we get a lot of like second and long and third and long situations, is because we're shoving ourselves in a position to fail. Whereas if you have 6 guys in the box or even 7 guys in the box, we were able to get a bunch of chunk yardage against a really stout defensive line. All right. Like if we took a look at the Cowboys game plan when they faced the Panthers, like they got the Panthers to switch to something that they're uncomfortable with. Right. And whenever the Falcons had the ability in order to capitalize it, they didn't do it. They tried to resort to play action, didn't work. And then they tried to resort to just like simply passing, and didn't work. And then they tried to motion other people and do a draw play or like the run play from the shotgun, didn't work. You know, so it's like, why didn't you just keep doing the same thing? You know, it's like I saw Mike Davis on runs that broke for 18 yards. Cordell Patterson had an 18-yard run. You know, they broke for 11, broke for 12, broke for 9. Like those runs were there. You know, and it wasn't the offensive line that was really causing those problems. It was just the fact that they had too many people to block. And it's like once they spread the ball out more, you know, it's like, hey, for all you guys that were fans of the Falcons in the mid '90s, remember the, geez, if I can speak, remember the red gun offense with the 4 wide receivers and Craig Ironhead Hayward as a running back? Craig Ironhead Hayward, man, thank goodness for him. He was the adult equivalent of 3 kids hiding behind a trench coat, dude. Like he was 3 adults behind a trench coat, like wrapped into one. You know, it's like people are gawking about Derrick Henry's size. Go back and watch Craig Hayward, man, because he was a monster. All right, he could swallow Michael Turner. All right. But the reason he was so successful in that kind of offense is because all the wide receivers that were on the field, they spread out the defense. They caused defensive backs to be on the field. And once that was the case, they could just run it with Craig, and nobody on the field could tackle him. That's what made us so successful. All right. So, like, you have to put the Panthers in a position, and the same thing with the Aints, right? You have to put them in a position where they can't run the stuff that makes them successful. They can't do it, right? You have to spread them out. Give them a smaller box to work with, and then the running game can be more effective. All right, people are always like, they're really afraid about Cam Jordan, like wrecking Matt Ryan again, right? But I don't see that happening as much. I still kind of fear for it, but at the same time, I know that we have a game plan that can work if we just stick to it. Jeez, man, if we just capitalize, that's all it takes in order for us to have an offensive advantage. You know, and that's one of the things that we need to do. Like, we have to have an offensive advantage against the Saints in their own spot, and we have to do it quick. All right, because if we don't do it quick, then that obnoxious crowd is going to remain in the game for the entire time. So if we shut up the Saints, if we shut up the Saints fans early on with a turnover or early on with a big offensive play, get them out of the game, that's huge for us. All right. Hey, if there's any Falcons fans that are going to that game, root as if you're rooting for the Braves. All right, I need you guys to be there and try to be louder than those Aints fans. All right, that's what's going to get us available to have a chance of winning. All right, when we can't hear things, when we have headset problems, just like Joe Judge, I guess, when we have a hard time hearing what's going on, and that's what causes a lot of false starts, a lot of delayed games, a lot of all of the sound of penalties and distractions, right? That's what really gets us back, and that's what makes us lose our confidence. We can't have that happen. All right, this game right now means way too much to us in order to be losing to something so trivial. Well, maybe. This team is not consistent. This team is not consistent, man. Neither is your typing skills, apparently. Gavin Jones, how's it going, man? AJ was a lockdown. All right, I gotta talk a little bit about AJ. Jeez, man, how many episodes have I been on here where I just been asking for water? Oh, jeez. All right. As much as I want to praise AJ Durrell, I said that right. Okay. As much as I want to praise him, who the heck cares if he never lets a catch if literally their 4 other weapons are wide open? I'm sorry. It's like I want to really root for his numbers. And as much as hasn't been thrown to, because they haven't been open, which is phenomenal on his part and in a singularity. Everyone else has been open seemingly, man. So it's like, what does that matter? It's like the reason as to why someone like Deion Sanders was so successful back in the early days was because he had a competent quarter on the other side, and everyone else was doing just enough in order to have their job be successful. All right, you're saying Dante can go, but who are you replacing him with? Travis Schlenk is needed in that Falcons front office. I don't know who that is. You might have to educate me on that. Willie Osborne, how's it going? Atlanta Falcons over New Orleans Aints. Go Falcons. I want to keep that same energy on Sunday, man. Keep that same energy on Sunday, all right? Because we're going to need it. Is it crazy I want to see the Falcons rush 30 times a game? No, it is not. All right? Because one of the things that we were really complaining about was like, well, man, we lost the time of possession battle, right? And while that is true, like we lost it by like 10 or at least 5 minutes, it was where those minutes came from. It's like when it was like at the end of the game and they had to really close it out. Could the Panthers do that? No, not really. We had like 2 extra chances at the end of the game. Like if we really took advantage of those, we would have been right back in the thick of it. And the Panthers wouldn't have had the ability in order to really capitalize on that because PJ Walker was a starting quarterback and they did not have any success with him. So now we have another backup quarterback, Trevor Siemian. I think, right? Or is it Taysom Hill? I don't really remember who's starting, but I don't care. If it's a mobile quarterback, we kind of dealt with enough of them. All right, we know how to, or so I say, right? I think we have what it takes in order to really test ourselves with yet another mobile quarterback, right? But it's actually been the ones that haven't had to run that we've had the most struggle with. If you really think about it, it's like in the first matchup with Jalen Hurts, that was kind of an anomaly, but I'm still going to go back to it. All right, like he didn't have to run. He could run, but he didn't have to in order to beat us. Tom Brady, he honestly didn't have to do anything. It's just like we kept giving him short fields. We kept giving him free points. So it's like, I don't really care about that one. But Taylor Heineke, for example, he didn't have to run. He could run, but he didn't have to in order to beat us. So, like, you got to think about it that way. It's like sometimes it hasn't been the mobile quarterbacks that we've been losing to. Sometimes it's the ones that really have the ability in order to stand in the pocket for X amount of time, and then they're able to find a guy that's like wide open because we can't cover for more than 5 seconds, which is basically the same thing for every other defender in the game. If the Panthers defense was so daunting, I'm not sure the way we didn't have more quick pass sets. Matt was getting pressured, yet we were running slow development routes that weren't. Oh, geez. It didn't create separation. Yeah, I kind of think about that as well. AJ only has allowed 55 yards and 0 touchdowns. Yeah, but what has everyone else done? Oh, geez. Our Fulton improvements. Our Fulton improvements. I thought this was the Braves channel. My bad. Hey, man, come back. That's good. The Terrell's numbers have been amazing, great considering a pass rush. Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, like he's been doing great, but as a team, the whole defense plays as a unit, and as a unit, we've been in the middle of the pack, which is something that we haven't been able to say from the other couple of weeks or a couple of seasons. I think Ridley, he is doing fine. All right, don't worry about it. All right, I feel like I'm kind of caught up with everything else as far as that. 55 minutes in, let's get on with what I was actually going to talk about. All right, so I've already kind of hit on a couple of questions that Davon sent me. All right, like the first one that he asked me, since he isn't on the show, I'm still going to answer his questions. Is like, what are our options with Ridley? I say we just leave him be, let him take care of the situation. The second question was, how can the Falcons take advantage of a backup quarterback in the Saints game? I say we get the momentum on our side, make sure that the crowd is away from the effectiveness of the game. All right. And then his third question was like, did it seem like the Falcons were prepared for the game Sunday as a result of the Ridley announcement? They kind of were, but there was more to it than that, right? Like the whole thing was just unsettling, right? Like when you see something that isn't supposed to happen, I deem it really unsettling. Like Kyle Pitts dropping a crucial catch on 3rd and 2, or like Young Wei Koo missing a field goal. Like, whoa, like that's unsettling. That's not supposed to happen. And it's like the thing about it's like, man, like we're not supposed to have that kind of problem. But so the Saints defense should keep it. The Saints defense should keep it close for half. I just don't see us getting beat by Kamara, Ingram, and Walmart receivers. You hear that, Mark? It says your receivers are nothing but Walmart employees. 35-10. He's saying they ain't good enough to be in the league, man. Whew. All right, but to your point about saying the Falcons can't score over 10 points, you'd be surprised once we actually get on a roll, man. I just think y'all coming in as a top dog. Hey, we got to do what fans do, and that's just root for our team, regardless of what's going on, man. Why do you think the Jets have been successful as of recently? Because all those people that show up there, right, as delusional as they may be, once they support the team, then the team can rally around the energy that the fans provide. All right? Yeah, we are the underdogs. And as a matter of fact, dang near 90% of our fan base isn't going to give us a chance in this game. But am I going to be the one to tell them that? No. Why would I? Why would I just sit up here and just be like, no, we have no chance, guys. Sorry, we're just going to have to cut our losses and go over here. It's like, no. All right? If this is going to be a way to win, all right, like you can't get super cocky, dude. Because look at what just happened to the Bengals. As soon as they got cocky, as soon as they got arrogant, then guess what happened? They lost to the Jets, the Mike White, all right, the Madden-generated quarterback. You want pedal to the metal, especially in the dome. Well, try to do it with a Simeon as quarterback. Defense was games and field position. Our offense will come together in the short fields. Your offense has been resorted to a one-trick pony. And I know that you can say the thing about ours, but our one-trick pony is that we're versatile. We can pretty much place anywhere. I know that we don't have like the personnel groupings in order to completely match against anyone else, but yeah, like, my only threat on your defense is Demario Davis. And if we can't stop a linebacker, then maybe we deserve to lose. But at the same time, Shane Mayfield's not getting better. Jalen Mayfield? You're talking about Jalen Mayfield. All right. Well, what you got to say is that he is the plan C at guard. All right, and at rookie, he's playing a new position. And last I checked, he gave up a sack. Right. I'm not going to say that he didn't. But at the same time, Matt Ryan has had to deal with a lot worse in the past couple of years. All right, and then hey, look what Ryan Tannehill's doing right now. Like he's like the second most sacked quarterback in the league right now. I don't agree with that. He's only getting worse and worse. All right, because you couldn't have been worse than what he was in the Eagles game. I know for a fact he said no chance. CB3 said first game won't be close. Ooh. It's crazy. One game changed everyone's perspective on the O line. Yeah, and I don't understand. Like I don't get the fact that we were we were terrible all of a sudden. All right, because some of the plays that were being made, they were more on the outside, right? Like I saw a play where it was getting blown up, but it was because of like Hayden Hurst. Like it wasn't because of a guard, it wasn't because of a tackle, it wasn't because of a center. It was because of like a tight end or a running back that just missed their assignment on the block. All right, so it's like if it's something like that, it's like you can't blame the offensive line when they took care of business. So Davis is ranked second, right? Cool. Especially when nobody cares. I just messing with you. All right. So some of the things that I wanted to get to was well, I've already kind of answered that kind of question. Our number one receiver is a Ricky tight end, and he's been doing a phenomenal job at that, right? You can't sit here and say that he's been a failure. Our actual number one wide receiver is getting the mental health that he needs. All right, so you really can't comment on that one. The Panthers are the number one pass rush and number one and second rushing coming into the game. All right, like in terms of like a talent, right? In terms of a talent, right? You have some names, but it's more so like how disciplined everyone is on that team. It isn't because like any one particular person has like been freakishly athletic and just making all the plays. Like that's something that we're referring to, and it's like I don't see like a too much of a threat that we're like so scared about. You know, it's like yeah, Cam Jordan has been a threat to anyone else, and he's kind of been kind of situation. But, we beat. Oh, was it this year? You haven't beat us this year. Number one in the division. Who cares? August Davenport, the guy that nobody on the Saints wanted, the guy that nobody wanted for a while. All right. Well, whew, here's what I'm gonna have to do because we're gonna have to have. Hey, here's something. All right. So for everyone that's still here, right? We might be doing another show Saturday night. How do you guys feel about that? I'll wait until I get some comments on that. How do you guys feel about us potentially starting another show Saturday night around this time? Well, not around this time. We're still an hour in, but All right, you can do this every day. All right, that's good to hear. Uh, think Davis was worth picking up, like Mike Davis? I think so. Um, because he still hasn't fulfilled his role yet, right? And I know that other people have been clamoring about a certain other athlete that was from Atlanta that may or may not have been able to us in order to select in the past offseason. Um, One thing I've seen a lot of people say, like in the past couple of months, was like, oh, hey, like we're going to support all the Atlanta natives, right? Like when it was last year with Todd Gurley, like everyone was going to be behind his back, and then they realized that he couldn't play. And then everyone was immediately off his back, and now he can't even show up anywhere on the league. Even if multiple teams have been needing a running back, which they have, all right, like that's what's surprising to me. Like the Titans didn't even reach out to a guy like Todd Gurley. Like they'd rather go to a 36, 37-year-old Adrian Peterson before they went with a 26-year-old Todd Gurley. That's crazy. The fact that he can't be picked up anywhere. All right, like even if everyone is on the bottom of the barrel, man, like that is wild. Like nobody wants to support him anymore, and that's kind of sad for an athlete. And then as regards to Mike Davis, it's like, yeah, Dante Fowler, he's another one from Atlanta. You know, Dante Fowler, Mike Davis, they were like big in Atlanta, or like, at least like Mike Davis was a native from Atlanta. Did it matter? No, no one's supporting him. Right? So it's like, why was that the big kicker when it came to a guy like Justin Fields? It's like, well, he's an Atlanta native, so all of Atlanta's going to support him. And then, like, he goes on and has a very, very mediocre, which I understand is not entirely his fault, but at the same time, your expectations were so high that I can't think of anything else than to call him a disappointment. So I'm sorry, but even Mitch Trubisky at one point made Matt Nagy look like a good coach. CK22, how you doing, man? Says I don't always watch the show during the live, but I always catch the replays and stuff. Oh, nice. Always enjoy more Falcons talk, so I wouldn't mind another show. Appreciate it, because we're like I said, like we're all thinking about making another show. As a Falcons fan, as soon as the Falcons fan realize they suck, y'all can get better. Every team in the NFC South did it. Tampa went got Brady, got rid of Cam. Y'all still got Arthur Blank and Matt Ryan. Like yeah, like we still have a. Wait a minute. I see the kind of chat people. Yeah, I'm not falling for that. All right. Well, okay. Well, Arthur Blank. Don't talk about that man. All right. He's done nothing but good for this whole city of Atlanta. All right. Like he just won like a philanthropist award and stuff. It's like we know the type of person that he is and what he's capable of and what he expects of this organization, just like what he expects of his other organizations. You know? I'd have a point there. But oh wait. About this, so it's like I'm an hour in, and I've generally kind of kept it to a way more than that. I'm almost kind of like tapped out at 2 hours. Hey, what? Yeah, the Super Bowl. Hey, go check who actually wins the rival record. All right. If you've done that, you can recognize it's actually the Falcons that actually lead the all-time record. Yeah, and your Super Bowl was tainted beyond belief, man. Talk about an asterisk, man. Who knew you resort to having Kevin James as your head coach? That's all I gotta say. Yep, College Boy said it right there. You may not like it, but it is the truth. I mean, we over here, we're gonna like it. All right, so and again, man, be careful what you say. Any given Sunday, any team can beat anybody at this point. So don't be all out in the hall high and mighty, and then you forgot that you have Trevor Siemian at quarterback, and you don't have a number one receiver, and your tight ends have been disappointing in the fantasy. All you have right now is Alvin Kamara and maybe Mark Ingram to go off of. That might be good enough to stop. At least slow down, keep us in the game. You know, because when you think about it, man, like Alvin Kamara against the Falcons hasn't really been all that successful. And I think if there's one person that can give us a sneaky X factor, it might be your wannabe general manager, Terry Fontenot. I think he knows your entire roster like the back of his hand. Seems like the defense would be better if we focus on wrapping up instead of trying to torpedo guys. Yeah, I mean, they definitely try to go head first a little bit. I know that with AJ Terrell, Eric Harris has gotten a little bit better at it, and Foye. And those big hits, man. Ooh. I wish they gave y'all the Super Bowl because y'all got hit by Katrina. Hmm. Hmm. Really last Brady. I don't care about Brady. Michael Thomas was the best thing y'all had going. Oof. Out for the season. All right. Well, hang on. Just making sure about something. Got a message. All right. I think I'm gonna have to end up here. All right. It's very awkward for me to end it a little bit earlier than I've been used to. So I'm just gonna leave this stream as it is right now, and we can kind of continue any kind of conversations that we can on Saturday night. You know, we have what was it it's either like the 6-man Carvo or it's like Kicking It with K Styles on Thursday. So you can check that out tomorrow. We got Friday Night Madness coming up. Obviously on Friday night. We're gonna have Red Clay Sports Saturday morning, and then you can tune in Saturday night and pay attention to me again, because I know that someone over here is a big fan of what I do. So much so that he's been spending quite a lot of time in order to wish me off. I actually got like a message, so can't I really can't speak any further, and I can't be on here for too much longer. But I know it's unfortunate. I usually stay for like a little bit over 2 hours. But hey, things change. It's not the same week as it is every single time. But I enjoyed having the conversation with everyone, and then Mark. One bedroom apartment. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of a house tour, but just let you know it's not in a 1-bedroom apartment. All right. The things I would do to have my own place, let me tell you. All right. This has been it for me. Thank you all for tuning in. Oh, hey, first time watching. Got a fellow nail biter. Yeah, let me tell you something, man. There was a time where I stopped biting my nails for like a whole year, and then I tuned on to another Falcons game, and then oh my goodness gracious. can't open up things, have a hard time ripping up stuff off stickers, and he's always helping. I've always got. I mean, you always get keys with you whenever you go, right? But at the same time, you want fingernails are pretty useful, right? Uh, Shout out Miguel Sosa. Shout out from help me say that, man. Sinaloa, Sinala, Sinala, Mexico, Sinala, Mexico. Go Falcons, man. Appreciate everyone else that's tuning in from outside of the country. I know we have some other people that can really tune in anywhere, right? And this is why, bro, your score is climbing up even higher. Talking about increasing delusions, man. Yeah, let me know how you say that, all right? Because I'm really curious. But yeah, this is why we have shows at this at different times in the night. You know, that's why we can catch some of the people that we would normally be able to catch, right? Like I'm a West Coast guy, so we might have some people over here on the West Coast that might have some things to say. I know we have some people from like Canada and now Mexico, so it's like, hey, I got some readers that come in from like what was that other person? What was that other place that I kept trying to call out too? There's been some in like the UK that tune in and that like read articles online for us, you know, and like that's really the guy for that, man. All right, now we know we have at least one viewer. All right, now I want to know if we're gonna have a sensible viewer. Just kidding. All right. Oh, okay. Tuning in from Honolulu. Appreciate it. All right. Oh, wow. You're even earlier than me. 3 hours? So it's about what, like 6:17 for you? I think so. Season ticket holder. Nice. I would want to be able to go to a Falcons game, and I actually have that luxury on December, what was it, 19th? Going to the 49ers game. Mom's a huge 49ers fan. And I couldn't care less about that team. I've gone on several rants from the 49ers. I did that last week where I was just ripping on Charles Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan. Why did I call him Charles? Yeah, okay. Sinaloa. Okay, Sinaloa. Nice. I'll remember that for next time. Been a Falcons fan since '98. Nice. I was a Falcons fan since 2007. You know, the year everyone wants to forget. Yeah, I was a fan, and that was the first time watching the team then. Just goes to show you I don't care about records. Yeah, I mean, bro, there really isn't that much of a rivalry anymore when it comes to the NFL. Like Giants and Eagles, Browns, Bengals. I don't even care about that one. I mean, like the Seahawks and Cardinals, they were kind of good. The Ravens and Steelers, they were kind of good in like 2009. Then like some other divisions, they just weren't really all that competitive. Like Titans and Jaguars, they were not competitive for the longest time. There were some really good ones like the Chiefs and Raiders, some like old from back in the old days. Yeah, man. If you want to know about hard times and not having any hope, like that was the year to do it, right? Because that was the year even our freaking coach quit on the team. Oh, we had so many different trash quarterbacks. All right, like you can't even begin to know the levels of appreciation that we have for Matt Ryan over here, man. I don't know about all of sports. I mean, that Ohio State and Michigan one, that one gets really intense. I just think I just don't think there's been enough backing on both ends. You know, that's all I gotta say. Like that seems to be more of like I mean, obviously, like you can say that that like those two teams haven't been much of a rivals to each other. You know, like in the past couple of decades, like if you want to say that the Steelers and the Patriots they were rivals, like no, they weren't. Like Patriots like consistently won those matchups. But for us, like it was always kind of like duking it out, you know. John Boas. Shout out to SB Nation, or Secret Base is what they call it. He was he was one of those ones that was just calling us like the Beavis and Butthead of the NFL. Yeah, like the rivalry is consistent. I just wish, like I said, I wish that there was enough like fan backing on both ends. And when I mean on both ends, I specifically mean Atlanta. All right, like this is why earlier I said that, hey, like you need to act as if you're rooting for the Braves again in order to silence these fans over in that dome. All right, because once you take them out of it, we can have a chance. So on the field kind of stuff is not something that I'm really too worried about. I know that every team is going to have like their own slump game. Like take a look at the Bills Dolphins game like that. Oh, geez, excuse me. Sorry if you heard that. But if you've watched like the first half of that game, it was like 3-3. Like the Bills, they're like one of the best teams in the league. Like, why were they always like? They kept giving the Dolphins so many chances to be back in the game. It's like the Browns Steelers. Like that game was ugly. The Ravens, the Broncos and the Reds. Reskins. That's what I saw. That football team over there that plays over in Landover, Maryland. Like that one is just a snooze fest. Like there's been a bunch of other kind of games that were just like, man, this one's off, right? But I want to go to the Philly game to see how crazy it gets. Decided to go to Nashville. Yeah, it didn't get crazy at all. Right? Like there, I actually saw an article that was like, who said it? Right? Sports Talk AT or something like that. They made an article earlier today about like, hey, like, do the Falcons have a problem with fan attendance? I'm like, absolutely yes. All right, but okay. I love the Falcons, but we can't play consistent football for 60 minutes. Well, maybe if you cheer them on, maybe if we get some more cheers, maybe we get some more rallies. All right, like we gotta be enthusiastic about a team, because like if we're not gonna be enthusiastic, why would they be enthusiastic in order to play for us? Bills are such a good team, and they're still not adapted to winning. Do you think we are? Do you think some of these other teams up in the top are? Like, do you think like the Cardinals are adapted to winning? Do you think the Bucks are adapted to winning? I don't think that matters here. Right? Like I don't, because obviously you can still have some consistent teams that are generally up there, like the Packers, but there's always like the Steelers. Mike Tomlin will literally drag the sarcophagus of the offense and make it show up to the to the playoff attendance. Says the problem is y'all make it like a day party, like a big old party. We got to address the big defensive line for the next year. Well, I actually have a half brother of mine that's a Raiders fan, kind of close to New Orleans. He's on one of like the top of the boot, is what he called it. Um, yeah, like he reps a bunch of Raider stuff. I don't know if anymore, but ooh, no, I just said the word Raiders, and now just a bunch of horrible images just came to mind. Arizona has been bad on that wonderful. Bro, I just said that they haven't won a championship since 1947. The last time they were technically relevant was in 2008. You want to talk about a team that wasn't adapted to winning? Have you seen their win percentage? It's one of the worst of all time in any sports league. I'm not trying to rip on them, but it's like that's just a statement that you can make. Wide receiver and running backs, we got a lot of holes in this roster. Well, okay. One last question before I go. Now that Ridley's gone, should we make Cordero Patterson a running back now, from now on? Our team never won a Super Bowl either. Yeah, well, do you think that's stopping Bills fans? No. Do you think that's stopping Chargers fans? No. All right. And I don't even want to talk about attendance, about that team because apparently we've been just as bad. There ain't nothing much that I can do over here, because I can't fly over there and back every single week because I ain't get that type of money. But at the same time, like I want to be able to support them. I would want to be able to go to the game all the time. I just can't because of where I was born. I can't control that. You said Wayne Gallman should be more active in the game plan. So I want to talk about Wayne Gallman for a little bit. Guys, answer the question, please. Should we move Cordero Patterson to wide receiver for the time being? Let that be his more of a temporary, or let that be his primary role temporarily. I don't know if that makes sense, but with Wayne Gallman, I think what our situation is that we're not, like I said, we're a little bit too predictable when it comes to running the ball. And if I have a feeling that if we put Wayne Gallman in there more, we might be even more predictable, right? Because if we're putting Wayne Gallman in the game, what are we meant to do with him? We're going to try to have him as a runner, right? Can you say the same thing about Cordero Patterson? No, you can put him in the passing game. Can you say the same thing about Mike Davis? No, you can put him in the passing game, and he's also a decent pass protector. If we put Wayne Gallman on the field, do you think the team would already know that we're trying to run? That's the thing that I'm afraid of, right? Because I don't want our personnel package to be too predictable to the point where knowing who's on the field is going to also tell them what the play is going to be. Like the one thing that I don't want this team doing is just being so hard-nosed about what they want to try to run regardless of who's on the team, even though that everyone knows what they're trying to do and that they're doing everything that they can in order to stop it. Like they're not doing a whole lot of disguises. I know the motions kind of help, but at the same time, it's not as effective as you'd like it to be. Sometimes we put some more people in the and slide protection in order to kind of create some more, just like 1 or 2 more seconds for protection from Matt. But at the same time, these are the little things. They can go a long way, but to go that extra step, like we have to do a little bit more, right? And I think the little bit more that we need to do is to have more people be good at more things. Can Wayne Gallman be a successful pass catcher? Can he be more of a successful pass blocker? If that answer is yes, then I have a little bit more faith in having him on the field more. But if we're solely reliant on Mike Davis in order to give us that disguise, and if we're solely relying on Cordell Patterson in order to be the extra step, that's not going to be good enough for us moving forward, regardless of who we face. All right? Because we have, I want to say Dallas next after this. Like, that's a team that I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of the Saints right now. I'm sorry, I'm not afraid of the Aints right now. But the Cowboys? Yeah. That's a problem. New England? Thursday night? Here? At our spot? I wasn't going to say that, that the Falcons have an easy chance against the Patriots. I didn't know what their team was going to look like at that point. But now that we're starting to see a little bit more of a confident Mac Jones, and now that they're holding stronger opponents like the Chargers offense to a lot less points, really makes you wonder, right? So William, he says, yes, we should probably move Cordell Patterson more. We also don't know if Russell Gage is playing. Why? What's wrong with him? I don't really know. CP isn't doing much better than what Devin Hester did as a wide receiver. Well, I mean, here's what you can say about Cordell Patterson, right? He actually breaks tackles. Devin Hester was not told to break tackles. And you also said that 22 personnel is the answer. Again, is that making us more predictable though? How many moves, how many plays that we have in that kind of package that lets us be successful? It's like it's not just about the personnel, but it's also about like who is filling those roles, right? Because 22 personnel could also mean that Felipe Franks might end up accidentally on the field. You've seen it. It's like, is Tajay Sharp going to step up even more so than what he's already has? What the heck happened to Lames Zacchaeus? What the heck happened with Russell Gage? How come we're not using Hayden Hurst enough? It's like we have options, but why aren't we just using everyone to our advantage? Like, when we're successful is when we're spreading the ball out, is when we're making the defense guess as to who's going to get the ball next, right? Like, that is going to be the key. If we can't do that, then it doesn't matter what personnel package that we play. It doesn't matter who's on the field, because they already know that we're going to try to do. All right? I know that we are going to have to try to play to our strengths as our backs and tight ends. But at the same time, you need just a little bit more variety. All right? In order to beat a so-called number 2 defense, you have to throw them a bunch of different stuff. All right? You can't beat a top defense with just a running back and with just a tight end. I'm sorry, that's just not going to happen. All right? Like, our best 5 guys need to be on the field, and they need to be successful at what they're told to do. And as for the defense, I can't worry about them so much. All right? Like, they did their job against the Panthers. I know that you can say all that you want against the run, but I don't think that we would have the same kind of conversation if the yardage was flipped, right? If they passed for 200 yards, but then they rushed for 130. Like, if they got the same amount of yards, like, does it really matter how they got them? It kind of does, right? But at the same time, when they kept getting third downs, right? When we kept being stopped on third down, like, that's what killed us. It wasn't just the amount of yards, but it's when they got the yards. It wasn't just so much how either, right? It was when they got the yards. All right, when it was a 3rd and 10, they got the 10 yards. When it was a 3rd and 9, they got 11. When it was a 3rd and 7, they got 9. It was so one of those situations where it's like, it didn't matter how they got the yards, who got the yards, when they got the yards. It was when they got the yards in terms of down and distance. It's like, if you want to put Pitts out wide, Hurst in line, and if you want to put Lee Smith as the other side of the tight end, have Cordell Patterson in the backfield, or have Cordell Patterson split out as the other wide receiver, have Mike Davis in the backfield. That's a thought. But at the same time, Tyson Titan will fall right in and out lap. Wait, what? In and out? You got the linebackers and shovel tight ends. Well, we said the same thing about our linebackers too, man, but in and out, huh? It's a burger joint in the West Coast. The quarterback's whoever after. Dude, did you not listen? Ridley's not playing. All right, go ahead and just watch me, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I said I had to go, and it's still kind of true. But all right, closing thoughts. Anyone else? Anyone else got closing thoughts? I'm gonna read them, and then because I don't know, I'm gonna let this be our outro. Closing thoughts. What you guys got? All right. All right. Meaning I don't know who falls after Ridley. Who's y'all number 3? We were. Well, if you look at the depth chart, it's probably going to tell you Ridley. Well, then scratch that, and then it's going to be Russell Gage, and then I don't know. Can we just scratch that? And then it's either going to be Tajay Sharp. That seems to be more of like a number 2, and a number 3 would be like Lamine Zacchaeus. So then, man, you were one more dumb comment away from getting blocked. Defense is playing inspiring. They're coming along. Nice. Glad to hear it. Any more closing thoughts, guys? If not, I guess College War 3 is going to take the cake and just walk with it. Eat it too. I've already kind of said what I needed to say for the past hour and a half. Whoa. If you flourish with Ridley out once again, do you think it'd be worth letting go and just surround Ryan with Pitts with cheaper and more impactful wide receivers, the guys who fit the scheme? All right. All right. Good question. Let's see. I mean, yeah, from a salary cap standpoint, it makes a lot more sense in order to work with cheaper talent. But is it also going to be one of these situations where you're kind of getting what you pay for? Excuse me. Probably. Because it's like when I think of cheaper, more impactful receivers, I think like rookies coming out the draft. So it's like if that's what you're thinking, where does that lie on the priority list? Because we've been clamoring for a pass rusher, we've been clamoring for defensive interior defensive help, right? So in my mind, those two come first. And then it's what else, right? Maybe someone can think corner and just kind of build up the depth there. It's never really a bad option, right? Someone can think another linebacker. We might not be able to spend all the money that we can on guys like Foye and Pitts, but knowing what we were able to do with guys like Michael Walker and stuff, it's like maybe we can give them different roles. I know we just got rid of Etheridge. Hopefully that he can come back. On the offensive side of the ball, like how much do you want to say that our offensive line is fine the way it is, right? Like our running back situation, like what's the next level on the priority list? Because for me, it's like defensive line, pass rusher, like get that first. Anything else on top of that, right? Like where does the receivers lie? Like are they the next top priority for you? So then let's think about like the second round wide receivers that we can get in the draft, Hey, they can hit. Second round wide receivers can hit. Look at DK Metcalf. Look at Devontae Adams. Those are second round wide receivers. You can even hit them later on in the draft. Look at Stephon Diggs, 6th round draft pick. So yeah, I mean, salary cap going up next year, revenue's down because of COVID and no fans. Well, we might be able to do something about that first part, but I don't know about the second part of this point. It's a problem, man. We're just not getting enough positive support from the team. I was kind of referring to pickup similar to Sharp. He's been a surprise in the draft, though. I want some defense. Yeah, but at the same time, we have more picks than I think what we had last year, right? We had 9 picks last year. I got to take a look at our draft board and see how many picks that we have this year. It might be just as many because of like the Julio trade and the Lee Smith trade. Or I think no, I think the Lee Smith trade was before the actual draft, so never mind that. Yeah, I think that should be everything. I guess I gave enough time for anyone else to chime in. Okay, so yeah, 38 minutes later. Appreciate everyone rock with me. I know I told you I always have a tendency to keep a stream longer than I have to. Oh, the phrase called overstaying your welcome, and I seem to do that every single week. Okay, yeah, like 8 picks in the draft, 2 second rounders. All right, that's going to be important. That's going to be crucial for us. So yeah, like we'll see how it goes. Okay. Well, I mean, like you just got to go with it, man. Like I'm gonna get to it. I haven't really skipped around anyone else. At least anything that wasn't directed to me. So thank y'all for tuning in. Oh, guys, I keep checking and I haven't seen any improvement. YouTube, Speak Up Falcons. Go follow Dave on there. All right, if you miss him, if you want him more than you want me, that's the way to do it. He's got a channel. Go to it. Subscribe to it. All right. If you want to talk about like supporting us, that's the way to do it. I kept checking every single week, and I haven't really seen any improvements. I'm calling all out. Get that man some more subscribers, man. That's gonna build his confidence up. Me, I don't care, but this isn't my channel. But you can subscribe here or whatever. It's cool. So yeah, that's it for it's me. It's definitely it for me. All right. If you put a comment in now, I'm not gonna care about it. But yeah, thanks very much. And hopefully talk to you guys on Saturday night.